Welcome everybody. I just started the recording because we're going to put this on YouTube or any other platform as well, perhaps Vimeo. And today we have an interview with Bruce Pales. He's one of the people behind 360Cities. They have this enormous database with 360 photos, 360 material. And yeah, today we have our first interview planned. We haven't done this before, so I'll try to give as much time to speak to Bruce while also maintaining and allowing everybody in the room. That's what I'm doing now. Hi there, Trudy. Welcome. Yeah, so we have an interview and a question and a Q&A planned. So I'll ask a few questions, and Bruce will show some of the work they're doing and the project he's working on with his team. And then you can drop questions in the chat. I'll try to keep up with that and see whether we perhaps I can ask them when they're relevant within the interview, or we'll finish with the Q&A questions. Let me first give a little bit of background. So why are we doing this? We saw in the sessions last time, there we worked with ThingLink. We saw that 360 photos can actually be quite valuable for using for education and training, for presenting information in new ways, in a way that the information is more connected with the space you're talking about, with a certain activity or a certain location on Earth. But a challenge is you often face the challenge as an educator that you're looking for 360 photos, but you can't really find the ones you're looking for, and you don't always have the opportunity to create your own photos. So you start Googling. Perhaps you have found some way to include some photos from Google Maps, or you found this group on Flickr where they have where they share 360 photos you can use for free. But it's always a bit lacking. And whenever people ask us how to solve this, we're having a hard time as well. So that's sort of the goal for this meeting, to see whether 360 Cities, the initiative where Bruce is involved in, can help us with this. I'll just finish off with admitting everybody from the waiting room. Welcome. And yes, I wanted to start off with, want to ask my first question to Bruce. Yeah, hi Bruce, welcome. And could you tell us perhaps a bit more about where are you now, and where are you? What is the story behind 360 Cities?
Okay. First, thank you, Robin. Thank you for inviting me. Hello to everybody. When someone asks me where I am, I always say I'm in Prague. I'm in the center of Europe, so that's where I physically am. I'm the CEO of 360 Cities, 360cities.net. We've been around since 2008. We started out as a publishing platform for photographers who wanted to upload 360 photos. At the time, there weren't many places. Actually, there were no places where you could upload a 360 photo and where it would play interactively. And a number of these startups, they came on the scene, and we've managed to build a thriving community, a thriving business over the last 12, 13 years. We currently have over 14,000 photographers who have met we're a curated collection who have met our minimum quality requirements to be in our public content layer. And we have about 400,000, almost 400,000 360-degree photos of the entire world, because our contributors, they live and they travel all over the world. We started a couple of years ago to accept 360 videos. So we have a nice collection now of 360 videos that we can show to people. We're a destination website. People come to our website, armchair travelers, they like to look at things. Our business model is we're a boutique stock photo agency. We license our content out in various verticals like education and advertising and publishing and VR and all websites, all kinds of things. But we've been doing this now. We've been we've been licensing our photos and videos now for about 7, 8 years. And we've just started, and that's how I met Robin. We just started on an education project because we wanted to create a product specifically designed to the education sector, because we have a lot of customers at education publishers and ed tech providers. But when teachers come to us and say, well, we'd like access to your stuff, we don't really have a product for teachers, because a $200 license or €200 license for a photo, even a €50 license for a photo, it's not what they're looking for. So we're trying to build a whole service around that, and I hope that today we can talk a little bit about this project. We're calling it 360 Schools. We can talk about that as well. So 360cities.net is our main website, and we have let's just call it a startup or a little project called 360 Schools.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Perhaps when we were just speaking together before everybody was here, I asked you a question that you hated. What are your favorite 360 photos? I won't ask that, but perhaps you can share your screen and show the website to other people.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many. Just so many, and I can't say that I have any favorite. But I'm going to share my screen. I hope that I hope the experience is pretty good when you look at this. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the homepage of 360cities.net. You can see. And basically, we've designed our site in such a way that every single photograph is a landing page. We have really good Google Juice SEO, so we get a lot of people to our to the various pages on the site. So this is the home page, and if you scroll down, here we're zooming. If you scroll down, we have featured videos. We talk about our licensing. I'm doing this slowly because I know if you go fast, it doesn't work so well. And then we have a map. We initially used the Google Maps API because all of the photos are georeferenced, so they're all on the map. You can search a map to find all the photos. We're not using Google Maps anymore because they started charging for them. Thank you, Google. And then we every couple of weeks we change the featured panoramas and featured photographers. And again, we have 14,000 of these photographers from all over the world who have been vetted, for our public layer. Here you can see some sets that we show. If you go to Explore, in the Explore menu, you can see we have a 360 video gallery. We have gigapixel gallery of very large photos. We have some curated sets that are very nice. We have the world map where you can search by location. And then here we have stereoscopic and full stereo photos. We're also starting to accept animated photos, drawings and paintings in 360. We don't have them here yet because we just started doing that. What we have here, we have an extensive help guide for our contributors and for our customers on how to contribute, how to license. The one thing we do a lot with, I'll show you, is our API, where basically our database talks to customer or partner databases. So what we try to do is we try to encourage publishing companies, especially education publishing companies and ed tech providers to implement our API, because what it gives them full access to our whole database of content, and they can serve it via the API. We have a number of customers and some distribution partners, stock photo agencies, who use our API. And if you go to this page, you can take a look. You can look at the case study of Nearpod. Nearpod virtual field trips, which are considered, one of the best ways for students and teachers to access virtual reality. They're powered by 360 Cities. All those photos, they come from us via our API. And then we have another case study of a stock photo agency in Germany called Panther Media, which might be less interesting for you, because anyone wants to license something, you'll come directly to us. That's 360 City. But again, as I said, the 360 City doesn't cater to individual teachers or students, because if you go to a photo, let's say you search for, what should I search for? I'll search for Leiden because Robin is in Leiden. So if I search for Leiden, and you see we have 72 panoramas from Leiden, and I choose a panorama from Leiden, here's a panorama from Leiden, it should open. You see it's opening. And if you go to this panorama from Leiden, there is a, when it loads, and I don't know.
Nosy ladies.
There's a shopping cart here. And the shopping cart here triggers a purchase. You can purchase the panorama by clicking on. I won't go through the whole shopping cart. That's the way you would buy a panorama. You can go to here. You can go to full screen. You can view it in VR mode. You can share it various ways. This is 360 Cities. Again, it's extremely popular. We get a lot of traffic coming from all over the world, and we've been doing 360 Cities since 2008. Okay, but I'd like to, with your permission, I'd like to move away from 360 Cities to something where we've started, which we're really excited about, which we're still running off the 360's domain, and it's a very small, very simple website right now called 360 Schools. And this is a service that is dedicated to teachers. We're dedicating this mainly for teachers to use in their classroom, both face-to-face and remotely. And it's using all of the content from 360 Cities. It's using our API to access all of it. And similar to 360 Cities, you can search for and you can share panoramas here. We have it's an alpha version of the site. It works. You can sign up for it, and you can share photos. You can embed photos, in an iframe, onto a web page. We've got a help page and some feedback and a newsletter, and then we have a roadmap. And the roadmap is, you might find interesting. We want this to be accessible on any device, including a VR headset. We're offering now embedding of panoramas into websites. We're building something called guided tours. I'm going to show you guided tours in a second. We're going to allow teachers to create their own guided tours. That's going to be really, really nice. We're going to eventually have some weak and no internet scenarios, because sometimes teachers find themselves in situations where they don't have internet. And of course, LMS integration to the management systems. And one thing we want to do is we want to empower students to create and for students to collaborate. But we're more or less at the beginning of this. I want to show you the guided tours briefly. Basically, the guided tours, what we see is they're like lessons. Maybe something like a Nearpod virtual field trip, where you can click through a guided tour, and it's a real interactive lesson. We have one example, the Coral Reefs guided tour here online, where you can actually start exploring, and there's educational content included in this. And this is the one example of the guided tour. The key, though, to this whole thing is we're building an editor, because we want to have a collection of these guided tours, but we also want to allow teachers to be able to work with our content and work with our tools to create their own guided tours.
One question. So what makes it a guided tour? Do you mean that you add this extra information layer to it, or is it also guided in the sense that you have a like Google Expedition does, that you can synchronize all your what everybody's seeing in the classroom?
Right now, what this guided tour is it has content. It's a lesson.
Okay, yeah, it's an
And,
asset, yeah.
and this is what we want to have. We want a big database of these. We have so many of these that are just are just ready to be built because we have so much content. We have so much content prepared for these guided tours. And then what happens is eventually you come to a panorama page, and there's a little bit of gamification. So you look around for various species of coral reefs or whatever you find in the coral reef, the fish and all of that. This is what we have now, because what we find is there's a lot of virtual tour editors out there, very complex kind of virtual tour editors, but not that many where you go through it as a lesson. I think Nearpod does it really well with their virtual field trips. Ours are, I think, a little more sophisticated. We have built this gamification in, and we have at the end, we have a quiz you can take. But again, for us, it's more about teachers being able to use our content and to use their own content to create their own guided tours. You know, we also have a teacher's guide that you can download. It's a very detailed teacher's guide, so that teachers, when they see this, they get some recommendations from us on how to share this with the class, how to use it with the class. And, you know, this is our roadmap, and these are things we want to do. As I say, this is brand new. It's something we're just starting. We have we've had almost 700 signups for the service so far. Cool. And we send out regular newsletters. We're sending one out tomorrow or Thursday, and we have about 400 people on our mailing list. And I remember 2 months ago when we started, we had 0. So, you know, it's just, this is really nice. This is very different than 360 Cities, where we have hundreds of thousands of views a day and millions, you know, all this stuff, you know, millions of per month. This is starting, but it's really tailored to educate.
And do you already have a model then? Because now it says you can have a free account, and it's in the alpha phase. But well, what's it gonna look like? Do you have in the end? Do you have a account as a teacher, and then you can access then you can use all the content, or is it you do it with your entire school?
Well, what we're going to start with is we're going to start with classroom accounts. Again, we're focusing on the teachers.
Okay.
We'll start with a classroom account, and it'll be a freemium model, meaning that it's free to use, and then there'll be paid features, and we're thinking of an affordable subscription price, with, you know, something $30, $40, $50 a year, for an annual subscription. And
then you have access to all the photos. You can use them in the classroom. You can use all the photos in the classroom.
Well,
of course.
You can use all the photos in the classroom now, but currently you can only share the links to them for free, and we're allowing free embedding of 3 right now. Yeah. But I mean, the idea, we want to keep the pricing simple. We don't want to have more than a maximum of, let's just say, 2 paid tiers. Right now, we're only envisioning 1 paid tier because we don't want it to be complicated. And of course, later on, we'll have school pricing and school district pricing. But we're focused mainly on educators, because educators have different problems than let's just say administrators. And educators, they want to keep their we hear it over and over again. They just want immersive, interactive stuff to keep their students engaged. And we see this is a digital tool. It's not core curriculum. It's supplementary that supports core curricula. We're not educators per se. You know, we come from other field, but we're engaging educators. We're working with consultants on this. So we're really excited about it. So for everybody on the call, the URL is a little bit funky right now. We'll be getting a real 360 Schools URL, but if you sign up for the service and the newsletter, you can use it, and it won't cost you.
Okay, cool. We'll share the link. So I also put the link down in the chat in a minute. Then you can. That's probably easier. One thing I already wanted to ask. So you're in the alpha phase for this project, and you're wanting to get input from schools, and it's a different. For you, it's a whole different kind of project as well. So one thing I can imagine that might still be, that I think could still be difficult for educators or training companies is that yeah, how would I start, how do I search in your enormous database, and it now looks many, let me rephrase perhaps. So your database, at least 360 Cities, seems to be largely geographically organized. But as an educator, what would be the ultimate solution is that I'm doing geography for 14-year-olds, and we're covering, I don't know, inactive volcanoes. And I need something to show my students for this and this lesson. How that's a huge difference, of course. How could we? Do you see any possibilities how we could sort of bring that closer together?
Well, I mean, there's a search field here, and you type into it volcanoes.
Okay, is it that easy? Is it
Well,
as easy as that?
If you know how to spell volcano. No, I'm joking. It's all of our metadata. You know, we encourage our contributors to provide excellent metadata.
Okay.
We're crowdsourced, so sometimes the metadata is as good as the contributor decides. Sometimes it's in foreign languages, but generally, you know, you can find, we have, if I go to, let me just go to 360 Cities, because I'll show you, because the search result there is a bit more sophisticated than on schools. So if I type in volcano, and I get a result, you'll see we have 1,300 panoramas that have been tagged in some way volcano. We have 22 videos that have been tagged volcano, 3 contributors who've created. We got 5 locations, and we have some curated sets, which are really nice, where we talk about, like, you know, volcano.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. This is
And 360 Cities, again, it's still more robust. You know, like it's still more robust. We've been doing it for a long time, and you know, the whole UX and UI thing, we've been doing it really for a long time. What we do on 360 Cities, the goal is that that customers can find what they need. Of course, we also provide a service where we can help to find what a customer is looking for. So we have, you know, we do that all the time. We'll have a customer say, well, we're looking for, well, we have customers who do bulk licenses. You know, we're licensing 100 panoramas or 20 videos, and we're looking for skylines.
Yeah.
So you know, we just say, okay, skylines, and then you see, you know, do we have anything with skylines? We see, you know, this is what we have. But a lot of photographers, they don't tag very well. Then, you know, you can do another search. You know, you might do city, skyscraper, and 41,800 our city. So it's, again, we're not using AI or any editors to go in and modify the metadata that the contributors create. We choose to motivate the contributors to, we tell them, your stuff will get found, it has a better chance of getting licensed, and then you earn a royalty from the license if you
Okay, and let's briefly go to in a slightly different use case. So before was a geography use case, but for example, we see a lot of people who are nursery training or other sorts of medical training, and they want to use some sort of 360 photos for a photo from an emergency room or inside a hospital or something. Is that something that's covered by your photographers, or is it? Is it?
Well, supposedly there's 1,300 that have been tagged hospital. And we got hospitals, sure. Hospital. We've got even, you know, speaking of hospitals, we've got COVID, you know, we got, I mean, there's all kinds of COVID stuff.
This is interesting, yeah.
We just let people create. What we do, we curate, we review every single photo and video that gets uploaded for quality, and just to make sure it's okay, you know, that it's something that we want to show on our site. We're a family website, and um, and there's thousands of these people who passionate photographers. What photographers like about our service is that we do curate for quality. So when their stuff is published, they're in a group of photographers who have been vetted. And we're one of the only 360-degree services that does that. Usually they just accept anything, and I don't know how they curate. But we decided about 10 years ago that it's quality over quantity for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you think your initiative for schools needs a different form of curating as well?
We think, you know, currently the current view is that the guided tours, you know, these lessons, these, so to speak, that these are the key. To have a good library, if you can have hundreds of these lessons, there will always be people looking for individual pieces, you know, panoramas or videos. But if you can create really good packaged content, teachers will find that useful for their classes. We're not currently thinking of creating them by age group, or we're trying to make them pretty generic currently. But you know, when you build a tool and you have an editor that, you know, editors to create these things, and you have lots of people creating them, you know, who knows what will come out of it. There can be all kinds of things. We really want to get students to start creating these. We want students to be able to upload their own photography, 360 and otherwise, their own artwork, their own videos, and to be able to share it and share it in their class, or share it with other schools using our editor.
Yeah. Okay, I have a few questions here that I would like to pop in. Two of them, Elizabeth just mentioned two questions. So first, questions are very much welcome. Please drop them in the chat, but we'll also, let's try to focus on using 360 cities, or at least let's focus on 360 photos and what kind of initiatives are in this field. But the first question Elizabeth raised was whether there's nothing inappropriate for kids to see. Is there some sort of
No, I mean, we show Google ads, so we have to be careful. The reason I laugh is because you know, every country is different in terms of what is appropriate and what's not appropriate.
Yeah.
I know in the Netherlands, showing a photo in a school of a woman in a bathing suit is not inappropriate, right?
No, usually not. No.
No, but in some countries, you know, where I come from, for example, like America,
yeah,
there could be some problems with showing a picture of a woman in a bathing suit, a diver, you know, underwater.
Yeah.
I asked what she's supposed to wear, but this is the comments and feedback we're getting, so we're learning from that. We don't want to offend anyone. You know, we don't want to. We're not here to change anybody's worldview or anything, but otherwise, certainly we curate things so that there isn't nudity and vulgarity on the site.
Yeah, but that is something that, yeah, you can also have sort of layers where, okay, this is appropriate for everyone, this is appropriate for a certain lookout or something that might be more relevant.
Yeah, everything's okay for the Dutch, but no, I mean, it's like, yeah, I really don't know. It's one can take a number of views on this. We don't want to offend anyone. That's the thing. But having said that, you know, you can't offend nobody. I mean, can you?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. Okay, so Elizabeth seems to be happy with your answer. And she also asks GDPR compliant. I'm not entirely sure how she means whether all the pictures that are in there, are they GDPR compliant? Yeah, I think that will be the question. If I use your photos, do I have to be worried about anything?
I mean, our website is GDPR compliant. We spent time and we worked with a lawyer to make sure that we're compliant in that sense. And I think in a lot of cases, it's about, I mean, there's a difference of usage for editorial use and creative use. So, you know, we believe we're GDPR compliant.
Okay, Cool. And another question, Elizabeth, is on a row now. Which students need to log in?
Well, right now, all we have is a general login. Anyone can log in. We're saying so that's how it's working right now, the 360 schools. Anybody can sign up for an account. It's eventually we will patrol that in some way. We'll have teacher accounts, and then the teachers will enable their students to have accounts. But right now, we're just, for us, and the big thing is if we can help people use something and we have a resource out there, we're happy with that for now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Karen is leaving. Okay. Thanks, Karen. Thanks for joining. We'll definitely meet again. Somebody's leaving. And Robin Ruiz, so wonderful, the site. I'm looking for 360 videos on social and emotional learning. I followed Chris Milk on his empathy project in 2011 using 360 video. And the sentence gets dropped there. Yeah, but okay, so Robin is really interested in how VR how VR affects empathy and how you can use social and emotional learning in VR. Do you think there's content on 360 Cities that's usable for this?
I'm sure there is. Someone would have to, say exactly what qualifies, but we have thousands of videos and hundreds of thousands of images. Yeah. I'd be surprised if there aren't any. But I'm not an expert on the field. So.
Yeah, that's sort of this thing gap I was referring to earlier. So you have this teachers or educators or trainers, or they have that sort of a goal. I want to teach this and this, and it might be I want to teach about the influences of climate change on the ocean, or it might be I want to give students a feel for what it's like to work in a medical hospital in South America, or I want to train students for sales training, or I want to prepare them emotionally when they have to deal with a client that's aggressive to them. And those are the questions educators have, and then you have a database like YouTube or 360 Cities with all this great content on there. But there's a sort of gap there.
Oh, you're absolutely right. There is totally a gap. I mean, we're like, as I say, we're at the beginning here, and obviously, as the service develops, you will have expertise in pockets, and we'll have real educators who are involved in it. Right now, we're building a platform. We're enabling at the very beginning. There's two options how we can go forward with it, because our 360 Cities site, it pretty much funds itself from the revenue we make. It's an ongoing business. We're not cash cows or anything, but we can run the business. We can support our customers and our contributors. 360 schools, if we're really, really serious about it, we can't, right now we're bootstrapping. Right now we either need investors, or we need to partner with somebody who's very strong, who's a specialist in the education field. And we're open to everything. We just wanted to get something out there so that that it's there. But we're entertaining various discussions right now, and I personally am very, very passionate about this. So I have a group of investors. I'm an investor, and I have a group of investors who I work with here at 360 Cities, and I'm going to push to do I see this as a 360 schools as just a great project, something that's and it's incredibly huge. There's hundreds of millions of classrooms and students around the world. So we are going to have to partner if we're really serious about this.
Yeah, because you have a partner in business. I know about that. I haven't met him or her yet. That's true too.
Oh, we have a team here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
There's a small team. No, my partner Steve, who he just walked out. But no, there's 5 of us on our team. But when I say a partner, I mean like an education company, a publisher. I could imagine an education publisher, an ed tech provider as a partner, or it can be a financial institution that can engage educators. We need something if we're serious about this. We can't expect to charge ridiculous amount of money for something like this. It's not the way to do it. We want millions of, just like with 360Cities, we want millions of students with access to this. Like the Nearpod virtual field trips. Nearpod virtual field trips are ridiculously popular, and that's something we'd like to do, but globally, for the whole world.
Yeah, and is it in a way? I really like this initiative, but I find your database even more fascinating. And when you told me that you were that you actually make these Nearpod virtual field trips possible, and that you also that ThinkLink is also one of your clients, I was really fascinated. You don't really, I think, hardly anybody knows about that. But there's also, yes, a bit of. Do you ever have any doubt? Perhaps you should focus on being the largest database and making all these other initiatives successful.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't. Oh, I see what you're saying. Whether we shouldn't focus on the customers as opposed to creating our own service.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. We found we have all these customers. We have two types of customers. We have customers who license from us, and then we have the API customers who have access to our whole database. And we found that none of them are using the service to its potential. So we said, well, we'll build it. We'll show it to the customers. And if somebody wants it and they want to work with us on it, they can work with us. We're not trying to compete with anybody. I don't think we possibly could. We don't have salespeople. We don't have a sales team. We're not going to compete in that way. But we think it's a good idea to have a service out there just showing what is possible. If somebody says, "Hey, we love the way you do the map search. Can we get that? Can we have that?" Or, "We love this guided tour. Can we have access to the editor? We want to build our own." Sure. So we see you're a publishing company. You allow a publishing platform. We would like our students to be able to publish 360 photos or any type of panorama photo, normal photos. We're looking for a publishing platform. So they can come to us for that. So we think if we have this service out there with all of the possibilities, it makes it much easier to have an idea of what's possible.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for your answer. I have a few more questions from the audience. So Elizabeth is really enthusiastic. Sounds great. Just what I'm looking for. My students in Rome. Robin, my passion is to help students who are disadvantaged to have experiments with this platform. Where is 360 located? In the USA?
We're located, as I said first, when you asked me where we are, I'm in Prague, in the Czech Republic, in the center of Europe. So we're based well, we have our holding company is actually based in the Netherlands, but we're based in Prague, but there's 5 of us who are currently working on the project, and 2 of us are based in Prague. One is in the south of Italy, and one's in Madrid in Spain, and one's in Bratislava in Slovakia. But you're
really a completely remote team, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we use Slack a lot. Everybody, it doesn't matter. But we look a lot like a U.S. company, and and a lot of our customers and traffic is in the U.S. Although we're pretty big in Europe as well. So and we're global, really.
Yeah. And personally, you're quite global as well, right? You're from the U.S., but you've lived in the Netherlands as well. 2 of your kids are now in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I spent 38 years in Europe. And I lived in Germany for a long time, and in the Czech Republic for a long time, and a couple of years in the Netherlands. So I'm kind of international, I guess.
That's nice to see. If you have such an international platform, that's. Let's see. Robert signed up for an educator account. do I also need to create another account for 360 Cities in order to be a contributor? I have content that I would be happy to share there.
Oh, wow.
Don't need any money. Don't need any money for it.
Yeah, 360 Cities, sign up for contributor account. Go to 360cities.net and sign up for contributor account, and you start uploading stuff, and it'll get published. And if it meets our quality standards, it'll get. We call her the queen of quality. She's the boss about. She has all the reviews. Elena, based in Madrid. And it'll be great. Thank you. We
really powerful position. Robert, could you perhaps share over audio what kind of photos, what kind of content you create? Let's see what.
Robert's on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Yeah, I just have. I have quite a bit of content from my own university. I've been coming up with an idea to do a collaborative project whereby we have students do a virtual escape room or escape campus. And so I have a lot of photos of my own university campus in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay. Well, cool. Excellent. I mean, yes, sign up for contributor account, start uploading. If you see you have a lot of them, and on 360 Cities, our contributor, the account, it's very old. We want to update it. Sometimes it's not really so user friendly. If you have any problems, you just write us, and we'll get back to you immediately. We'll try to make your life as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Robert, so what are you teaching at St. Louis?
I teach scenic design for theater, and I teach a class on creativity.
That sounds wonderful. Cool. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Perhaps that might be interesting as well to hear a bit more from the people who have joined in to make it a bit more active as well. Perhaps somebody would like to share something, what kind of project they're working on, and whether the platform Bruce talked about, whether that helps your endeavors. Perhaps please feel free to share your screen, or perhaps Robin likes to share something. She's getting her. I can't hear you yet. I'll unmute you. Sorry.
Okay, so
Yes.
I'm working on a couple chapters in a book on immersive environments, and mine is very special. When you look at the research, there was a big emphasis on research in VR, immersive environments, 360 videos, and that was about 10 years ago, 11 years ago when it first started. And just like everything else, it kind of like there's an excitement for things and then it goes. And so many people create things and the created things go out of style. And, how do you, you invest something like this. This is a huge investment, huge. And then so how do you curate it and keep it interesting so it moves along? And keeps up, like Google has been keeping on going on, and Google also has that Google Arts and Hit Culture app that is just cool. In the case of this, when you're talking about virtual environments and being able to actually make disadvantaged students have an advantage of seeing things that maybe they would never see in their life or never even know how to dream about it, going to Europe and seeing a masterpiece, or going fishing if they like to fish, somebody that's very country, strong country, they like to fish, and so you show them you showed them the ocean reef. So in my case, I look at things a little bit different because I work in special education. I work with students with disabilities. I think about children who are autistic and how many autistic students we have in our world that are coming. Why? You know, well, it's a big problem. There's questions, there's research, there's theories. So in my case, you know, it's been like there's so many autistic spectrum disordered people. You know, those are the Silicon Valley people that are either unemployed or underemployed, 85%, because of their education. So I'm looking to enrich, enhance, try to change a social change on how we think about education, how we deliver those curriculum models, and what we can do to help. And just out there, like when I saw this, searching, you know, I've searched, you know, I was thinking, wow, this is just incredible. So, you know, my passion, my one chapter is on children with attributed childhood trauma, meaning, and you know, how can we deliver to them a curriculum, a model using realistic 360 platforms on even meditation, even on scenes that are beautiful, 360, like Bruce has. So that's one. You know, what can I get? I'm doing research. I can't find anything. I can find meditation, kind of things like that for adults, but nothing. Nobody has worked for trying to help children who have these trauma behavior disorders who will drop out of school before they're 16 and become nobodies. You know, virtually. Then the other one I'm working on is how to help train autistic students. How can we give them a realistic understanding of what a work environment is in any case on your 360 environments? Like, so we saw a hospital, but what would it mean to work in that hospital? Even simple things like be a janitor. I mean, it doesn't sound very good, but that's a nice job. There you go.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Robin. Yeah. Bruce, do you have something you would like to respond?
What I would say to that is, you know, we consider ourselves kind of enablers in terms of we have content, we have expertise, we have, you know, we can develop experiences, we can create a tool that people can use, and you know, that's our specialty. And if qualified people, passionate people can take that and use it in a way you describe, or any way, you know, that's sort of, you know, then we've done our job. Because, you know, 360 Cities, historically, it's not education focused, but when we see, for example, that we get emails from people who grew up in Iran, and they haven't seen their homes in so long, and thanks to our platform, they saw them. It's nice and it's rewarding. It's not our goal, you know. We've enabled that, and so absolutely, I'd love to be able to, with the education service for 360 schools, to get into the situation where there are specialists, people trained, people passionate, who are using our infrastructure, you know, for their benefit. That's the whole idea of what we're doing. And, you know, by the way, when we announced to our contributors that we're doing this, because we had to tell them, we couldn't hide it from them, because we're using their content. They're not getting any royalties if we're not getting paid, and we're not getting paid. And we told them, and we just got great feedback. They were just like, oh, this is so great. Hey, I've got some more stuff I'm going to upload. They really like that. If we told them, though, that we're using their content for free and we're giving it to an advertising agency, hey, you know, they wouldn't be so happy with that. So, yeah. I love this project. You know, I'm not an educator, and I'm not going to pretend to be one, but I know how to run this business and how to develop this service. So I hope that, you know, that we'll be able to support, you know, the really passionate, skilled educators.
Yeah, I wanted to add two things to you as well, Robin, because one thing that I liked that you said that this could sort of help in making inequality a bit smaller. Yeah, that to me, that's really, I think, an important part of this. So a while ago, we helped a geography teacher in a bad neighborhood in somewhere in Amsterdam. And Amsterdam is really, and he had this lesson where he explained all about the dunes and how the dunes filter water. And after a few lessons, he started realizing, okay, the students in my class, part of them never have been to the dunes, although they're only 30 kilometers away from their school, and that gave them such a huge disadvantage that you can talk all about these dunes, and you have a video perhaps of it and a picture, but if you've never been there, that gave them such a disadvantage. So in a way, if you can give students all these different experiences, and not only from a part of nature 30 kilometers away, but also to the other side of the world and to the bottom of the planet and to the bottom of the ocean, and to the most interesting cultural places, I think that definitely could help in making inequality a tiny bit smaller. Yeah.
I mean, there's no question there's a digital divide, and the internet can be it's a democratizer. It's bridging that, and everybody now, if they know where to look, they have access. They can have access to the same information, and that's a great thing. And we're not trying to hide our content or make people pay for it. And so that's it's a great thing. But again, we think of ourselves here as just enablers. We have the content, we have the technology, we have the experience, and all of that. So, and we are on our website, the school's website, we keep asking for feedback. We love to hear feedback. We can't do everything. We can only do a few things, but we like to hear feedback because it inspires us.
Yeah. Okay. I see another question here. Or perhaps Robin, sorry. I thought, do you want to respond to this? No, you're okay? Okay. For language teachers, would the guided tours be available for different language users / learners? How would that look like? You can just make them in several languages, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, of course. I mean, I mean, certainly. If you go through the 360 Cities database, you'll see there's a lot of foreign metadata, which we've just had. We tell everyone, we say, look, you should put English metadata at least as well if you're really interested in monetizing it. But we have all kinds of tools to allow different metadata, but now you have all kinds of translate tools, of course.
Certainly. Perhaps let me get this right. I probably won't get it right, but Xiang Lin, could you perhaps explain yourself a bit? Are you a foreign language teacher, and is there something you're looking for specifically?
Yes, so I'm teaching Chinese, and I know that some platforms like ThinkLink collaborates with the immersive tools. I don't quite remember, but maybe provided by Microsoft, which translates directly from one language to another with embedded translating tool, which is very useful for my students who like to translate back and forth. So I'm wondering whether similar tools are embedded or available for that platform.
Not currently. We've always looked, and we've always thought about that. And you have for the education side, I can imagine that will happen for sure. For the 360 Cities site, because we started to focus on, because we needed a business model to continue to operate on stock photography, that's where English became it became necessary to focus only on English. So for the education side, I can imagine it absolutely. We'd like the service to be a global service. So and it is so easy now. I know Microsoft has a product. We were looking at Amazon has a product to translate. And sure, we can, we can embed that into the service.
Yeah, cool. Might be a great addition. And another follow-up question for what are your? I'm curious again. Let me get your name straight. Xiang Lin. What are you using the virtual tours for? Is it mainly to connect vocabulary to places in the world to make it more meaningful, or do you also practice things like spoken language or conversations or grammar or whatever? What are you doing?
I'm also exploring,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm so excited that since this is the COVID-19 era, my students cannot really go abroad to interact with the local communities. 360-degree photos are really an effective and also exciting way for my students and myself to explore a space that's available through images. But because I'm a language teacher, I'm also thinking about the language part. So if some like information, some readings, even some audios, recordings or videos can be embedded there for my students to immerse themselves in the 360-degree environments in a meaningful way, then that will be very helpful for my language students.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. That makes absolutely total sense. That's the great thing when you have when you have a platform. There's so many things, so many directions, there's so many things you can do with it. Right now, we started humbly just building a website and launching it, and languages is definitely something that we should support.
Yes. Let me. I forgot still to put the link in the chat. Let me get it in here to immediately register as for the 360 schools project. I wanted to Xianglin. I wanted to add one short story about when. So a few years ago, we helped this company who do private language training for professionals, and it's really one-on-one. It's high budget language training, and we helped them in using VR for their language lessons. And one thing was, so they had an experimental project where they tried to explain grammatical structures in a spatial sense. It's a great research project for them. But I also like they had one really low-tech solution where they had conversations with their students one-on-one, and they put VR glasses on them, and they just showed an image of or a 360 video in a French bakery, or even a 360 photo. Could have been one of 360Cities, from 360Cities, and the only goal was, so they put on the glasses and then they would have their conversation there, because they found that it was really hard. It was getting hard for their students to mentally transport them to another location. So usually they would have a conversation, okay, and they would say, okay, imagine you're in a French bakery and I'm the baker and you're having a conversation with me, and you want this and this on your grocery list. And just by giving them this VR headset on and placing them in the situation, that really removes an enormous burden for them an enormous, at least an enormous amount of mental effort to transpose them to that situation. So I found it was really low tech. Just use whatever is out there, place them in an interesting scene, and there have your conversation where all the interaction is still from person to person. So not talking to an AI or whatever. They didn't have to create really personalized learning material. They just offer a space to have a conversation in. I really like that approach they used in the end.
That sounds amazing. Amazing.
Simple,
Yeah,
right?
so that's exactly what I am looking for. But now you give me just a beautiful example how I could do it.
Okay. No, thanks a lot. Nice.
You.
Glad I could share that. Let me see. I don't see any questions in here anymore. At least, so I see a few questions that I will get back to privately, but they don't seem really directly relevant to the session today. But we can have a private chat later, or we can exchange emails. So I don't really have anything to share. I don't have any questions, at least. Bruce, is there something you would still like to share?
No, I'd like to just thank everybody for participating. Give us, feel free to use 360 Cities, 360 Schools, and be patient, because we're a small team and we're trying to bootstrap this right now. So until we have unless we have a strong partner, we go bit by bit, and we send out regular newsletters, and we look forward to progressing. It's something I'm personally very excited about.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let me finish off a bit. So this was the first interview we're doing, and we actually already had a few conversations. I had a few conversations with Bruce on the phone, and I was already enjoying that. And then I was thinking, perhaps let's make this into an interview format. And during the summer, we'll do a few of these, at least one. So in a few weeks, we have a session with one of the founders of Warp VR. That's a Dutch company really specialized in a platform where you have interactive 360 videos. So really aimed at training companies, and really aimed at creating trainings where you make decisions and actually where your choices influence the experience you have in your training. So we'll have an interview with them, and then we have a second session where we go more into depth into the platform and how to really use it. There we have the distinction as well. So the first session is a free session. There we explain about the product, and if you want to really learn how to make use of that, we'll have a second private session for all the members of the VR Learning Hub. And what else do we have planned? We're doing a few sessions on augmented reality, where I think we'll plan one or two more on using ThingLink, because last week's sessions were quite popular. And yeah, we have a lot of content on CoSpaces, so I think we're going to do an extra session on that. Perhaps we're planning on doing a session where we sort of exchange ideas with everybody who's using Unity 3D with students. Yeah, and we're really open for new ideas for sessions. So feel free to email us at any time if you're looking for something that for a specific product, or you have a type of problem. Perhaps we can help. Perhaps we can help you during these sessions. For now, I want to wish everybody a pleasant evening or morning or whatever it is in your part of the world. And I want to especially thank Bruce. It was really nice talking to you again, and we'll meet again in the future. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.